Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, a 3-day dusk-to-dawn curfew is brought in Abia state in southeastern Nigeria because of mounting tensions between pro-Biafran supporters and the military. Also, Tunisian MPs approve a controversial law granting amnesty to officials linked to corruption during the rule of former leader Zine al-Abidine Ben Ali. Critics of the law say it's a step backwards. Government supporters believe it will help turn a page on the past. And in Libya, a crackdown on trafficking gangs operating out of the city of Sabrata have started to bear fruit. Italian authorities say that they've noticed a marked drop in the number of arrivals dangerously smuggled in from the other side of the Mediterranean. But first, in Nigeria, mounting tensions between separatist group IPOB and the military have prompted a dusk-to-dawn curfew in Abia state. That'll last until Friday morning, with residents ordered to stay home from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. It follows recent clashes between IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra movement, and the army. The group's calling for a separate state for the Igbo people and on Sunday accused soldiers of having killed 5 members and of having gone after their leader, Nnamdi Kanu. Soldiers dispute that and say that they're only in Abia state for an operation cracking down on crime. Sam Olukoya tells us more about why the curfew was introduced.
The situation has escalated much since Sunday when the military first moved into the neighborhood where the leader of the IPOB lives. As of Tuesday, the military moved there again in full force, and there was a lot of tension there. And this led the government to declare the curfew. They said it was necessary to protect lives and properties in the face of the military action and then in the face of the agitation by the Biafran movement.
Now, what's IPOB saying about what's happening in Abia state? Because we saw on Sunday they lay some pretty concerning allegations at the feet of the military.
Well, they are saying that the military is trying to provoke them. Some are even saying that the military is attempting to kill their leader. Others are saying the military intends to arrest their leader. Whereas the military is saying there was nothing like that. They blame the IPOB members of attacking them. Some online videos show the IPOB members or some people throwing stones at military vehicles in the neighborhood where the IPOB leader lives. So from both sides, we are seeing some conflicting statements.
And IPOB's not the only pro-Biafran group in Abia. What positions have others taken on during this crisis?
The other very large pro-Biafran group there is MASOP. That group has also very strongly supported IPOB in this issue. And eventually we are seeing more groups springing up. One of them, the Biafran National Guard, said to declare war on the Nigerian army if the army does not withdraw from the state. So everybody is talking tough over there. In fact, many people in Igbo land who never even supported IPOB are now showing support in the face of the military presence in eastern Nigeria.
And is IPOB sure that the military is in Abia because of the pro-Biafran movement? Because the military and the governor is saying that they're there to crack down on kidnappings and crime.
Well, the military actually said they are also there to tackle the activities of separatists. It wasn't just crime alone. They said the IPOB members have been violent in recent past, and it was necessary to actually curtail their activities. So in a larger picture, the military said they are there to secure the area, to restore security. And part of this has to do with the activities of IPOB members, which they say is a threat to security. I mean, if we go back, there had been a lot of clashes between the military and IPOB members in the past, and it seems we are seeing a climax to this situation now.
Sam Olukoya there for us. Now, in Tunisia, a fiercely contested bill to exempt officials linked to corruption during the rule of former leader Zine al-Abidine Ben Ali was passed by Parliament on Wednesday. Opposition lawmakers tried to hold up the session, and demonstrators gathered outside to protest against plans to give a pass to some state workers linked to graft. Critics of the law say it's a step backwards from the country's 2011 revolution. Our Sandro Lutyens has met with some of those who've long been fighting against the law.
To avoid being caught by police, they always headed out on their missions in the dead of night.
Guys, slowly. We have to do it slowly.
For 2 years, teams of the Minish Msamma, the I Don't Forgive movement, had put up wanted posters throughout Tunis. They featured the faces of people they believed to be corrupt.
We show the faces of the corrupt. We can't do it during the day. We would get caught and beaten up.
They've been against the new law on economic reconciliation since it was first proposed. It offers amnesty for those linked to misuse of public funds under the old regime. The bill was first sent to Parliament in 2015, but debate was postponed several times because of fierce protests.
How can we say Tunisia is a lawful state when we have these corruption networks still working, and that these people might enjoy amnesty from a law voted in Parliament? It's very serious. It's as if we told the corrupt public employees or businessmen, go ahead, do what you want. One day or another, you'll have amnesty.
In Parliament on Wednesday, the ruling coalition finally agreed to move forward. Opposition MPs took one last desperate stand. They sang the national anthem for 20 minutes to try and stop the vote.
Today, it's all easier for us. We can talk to the media, we have our place in Parliament, and we can speak out. And so we stand strong. We won't let it happen. The fight goes on.
But despite their best efforts, the law was approved. Amnesty will be given to state employees indirectly involved in corruption under former President Ben Ali, terms which could apply to thousands of public servants.
In Togo, the head of the National Assembly said that discussions about a constitutional reform bill could start as soon as the end of this week. Togo's opposition, the ANC, has long been demanding change. The government proposal came only after hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets last week, calling for presidential term limits and for President Faure Gnassingbé to resign. His family has run the country since 1967. Opposition parties forced the adjournment of Parliament on Tuesday in protest at the bill being left off the agenda of an extraordinary session. South Africa's former Deputy Minister of Higher Education was convicted on Wednesday of several counts of assault. Duduzi Manana pled guilty to beating 2 women at a nightclub in Johannesburg last month. Mr. Manana was forced to resign from President Jacob Zuma's government after the incident caused public outcry. He is still an MP, though, for the ruling ANC party. Manana is due to be sentenced on the 7th of November. In Libya, a crackdown on trafficking gangs operating out of the city of Sabrata have started to bear fruit. Italian authorities say that they have noticed a marked drop in the number of arrivals from the other side of the Mediterranean. The change has been put down to a combination of more coastal surveillance and the upping of pressure on Libyan smugglers. Take a look.
The Libyan city of Sabrata has become one of the main departure points for migrants trying to reach Europe. There, people smugglers send dozens of boats across the Mediterranean daily with almost total impunity. But over the past few months, local authorities have begun to fight back.
We told them, either deal with or get rid of those migrants, or we will use force against you. It was a powerful message, and was well understood by the smugglers.
Thanks to the support of local militias, themselves backed and armed by Libya's national unity government, the ultimatum has had the desired effect. According to Bassem Rabli, the commander of a unit fighting clandestine migration, 9 out of 10 traffickers have agreed to cease their illegal activities.
10,000 people were destined to be smuggled to Italian and southern European shores. But in an agreement between security forces, local residents and human traffickers, the smugglers surrendered the migrants.
The launch last month of joint surveillance operations by the Italian and Libyan coast guards has also ramped up pressure on traffickers, and across the Mediterranean, the results have begun to show. Only 3,200 migrants arrived in Italy in August, 87% less than at the same time last year.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks for joining us. Do so again. Take care.